Hey everybody, welcome to our channel. Today on the show, a guy takes a C7 Corvette and does he make it a mid-engine car? You're going to see that in just a bit. We have some awesome viewer mail for you, and I'm going to share with you the most creative C8 modification I've seen to date, and once you see it, you're going to love it. You're going to want it. Welcome everybody to Coffee with Conti.
Hi, I'm Jim Madison at a Corvette show in Ave Maria, Florida on Rick Conti's Corvette vlog.
Oh man, it's great to see you guys. I've got a lot to share with you today. Thanks for joining us. If you don't get a chance to see this video in its entirety, please come back and check it out. The viewer mail segment today is really touching and just on point to what we want to share, what we want to capture, what this channel is all about. The heart. Yeah, that's what we can call it, the heart of Corvette. But before we actually get started today, just real fast, I'm asking for your prayers for my customer, Gary Zernickel, here in Ohio. On Monday, he is undergoing open heart surgery. Gary, we're all praying and pulling for you, sir. He is a wonderful guy. We need you to get well soon, man. Vet season is here. We need you to get out there and enjoy it with us. Okay, you guys, to start, I've got to share with you another lot story. They're not all warm and fuzzy. And I've told you this before too. People are still, a year after release, in the discovery stage to see a C8 in person. So I've got a couple of cars sitting here, sold, waiting to ship, waiting to get picked up, waiting to get prepped, that kind of stuff. So a guy comes in and he's checking out the cars. And I said, I apologize, these are all sold. He's like, oh, I really just want to sit in one right now. And I've got a policy. I don't let people sit in other people's cars, but I caved. Had one that just came in, had the in-transit cover on it, which covers the sill, so I let him sit in the car. Open up another car, let him see the engine bay area, let him see the front, answer the questions on 1LT, 2LT, 3LT, etc. I go through the whole deal. So then he goes, okay, which one can I take real quick? I said, excuse me. He goes, I just want to take one up the road real fast. I go, well, again, these are all sold cars, sir. I apologize. I let you sit in one. You're not driving somebody else's car. We can't do that. He goes, well, then he gets an attitude. He goes, when am I going to buy one of these unless I drive it first? I said, these people all did. I mean, it's kind of what's going on right now in the marketplace. And I know what you're going to say. Go ahead, Rick, tell him that, hey, if this was your car, would you want somebody else to? No sense of even telling him that because he wouldn't get it. Bonehead. But then I said, sir, there is a way that you can drive a C8 Corvette. So he leans back, he goes, oh yeah, how's that? I said, well, we're about 5.5 hours from the National Corvette Museum in Bowling Green, Kentucky, and they have a program on their track across the street. You can drive their car. It's about $300 for a touring lap to just get a feel for the car. Then he's really cranked. He looked at me and he goes, I'm gonna drive 5.5 hours and pay to drive. It went downhill from there. I didn't take his card. I didn't give him mine. Why would I? Are you kidding me? Hey, but sir, thank you for the practice. I do appreciate that. Even after 25 years, I'm still learning. What? All right, you guys, the first year of the C8 Corvette has already generated a lot of modifications. You guys like to take that car, kind of make it your own. And with Corvette, what's the old saying? Wrap your ass in fiberglass. Well, how about wrapping the engine bay with a vehicle wrap? This in the color of the car from Robin, New York. This is the most creative modification I've seen to date yet. And we've always had an issue with that area back there. Kind of dull, black, water stained. How about that, guys? What do you think of this? Rob, thanks for sending the video. Thanks for sending the pictures. Check out a few more. Everybody make a comment down below and let me know what you think of this, basically a new method of wrapping your ass in fiberglass. Nice job, Rob. But I thank you guys for joining us on today's Coffee with Conti. Before the viewer mail segment, it's time now for This Week in Corvette. In C8R Racing at the 12 Hours of Sebring, they've got new decals on the car. You'll notice there's no yellow cars. These new decals are all part of a way to celebrate the partnership with Mobil 1. What do you guys think of the new decal theme? I know you weren't happy with the race outcome from Sunday. And on a personal note, yes, folks, it is amazing. Your support, it is touching, and I'm so thrilled to be sharing this with you. My Corvette came off the line on Thursday. VIN 7500 is alive. And how about this? Corvette, again, 2 months in a row, is the fastest selling car in America. You can see here how the sales rate compares to other cars in the marketplace. And then when it comes to used Corvettes, well, Corvette was number 5 last month. As the season officially begins, I expect to see that used market and those numbers increase for Corvette. And how about this? My friend Steven and the team at LMR in Houston, well, they've done another amazing build, and they scared the pants off this C7 owner. Check this out.
That's scary.
Did you notice he grabbed for the grab handle? Something that we don't have on C8. Also this week in Corvette, our friend Morgan Crosby in Canada found out from his delivery driver the GM will soon no longer be using the rail cars to ship Corvettes out west. We've talked about this before. It takes a lot longer to do. The extra on and off the trucks, all the handling, and the potential for damage is even greater. So this is good news if you've got a car on the West Coast. Instead of waiting 30 to 45 days after the car's built in Bowling Green, it could probably now only take 2 to 3 weeks. But I think if you buy a car from us and we ship it privately to you, you'll still get it sooner. Now, how about these recent spy shots of these GM test Corvettes? Now, there's a new book out, Corvette Stingray, The Mid-Engine Revolution, and Taj talks about these cars hiding in plain sight. He says there's older powertrain mules still being driven in Detroit right now. Here's a quote from the book. It says, bringing the 8th generation Vette to production required extensive testing, and the test mules logged nearly 1 million real-world miles on the road. The keen camera lenses of the spy photographers captured images that fanned the flames of the mid-engine Corvette fever. On a typical Corvette program, we can test right under everybody's nose. Taj also goes on to say advanced development work on new chassis, changes in suspension geometry, new tires, new powertrain stuff, all can be installed under an old body, which means test engineers can drive around and onlookers would never know it's a new car. This time it's different. And you look at these pictures, this guy walked right up in somebody's driveway. He did what I would have done and take a lot of great pictures. So many of you say, oh, this is the Z06 and this is the E-Ray, this is the Corvette SUV. I'll give you the SUV thing. When you see the hitch on the one car, it's like, okay, that kind of jives. But we really don't know what we're looking at. You've got to think that they're so far ahead of what we're seeing right now. I heard an interview with Harlan Charles. Back in 2013, they were launching the C7 Corvette. We're all giddy and all excited for that car, but in 2013, they were finalizing the hardtop convertible for the C8 Corvette. So again, what we're looking at, we have no clue, but it makes for great conversation. What's kind of cool is I'll actually be in Detroit in a couple of weeks to see some family and friends. And yes, I'll have my camera with me just in case I see one of these cars hiding in plain sight. I'd be so excited because I've never really seen one on the road. And yes, I'll be the guy that I'll chase him down to see exactly what it is, to try and figure out anything that I can, even though we're not going to know what it is. But it's still fun, and it's neat because people that aren't even Corvette fans see that car and they get excited. So that tells you what Corvette really means to everybody. So that's this week in Corvette. Let's get into viewer mail now. All right, thanks again for joining us, guys. It's Coffee with Conti, and time now for viewer mail. Email address is up on the screen if you want to send us your story, just any feedback at all on this Corvette car, the marketplace, the people. I'd love to share it. This one comes from Greg. He says, Rick, first I want to thank you for the great content you have on your YouTube channel. Keep up the awesome videos. You have a good way of making the most interesting Corvette content, and I never miss any of the new uploads. You bring us Corvette lovers out here. Thank you. I'm a first-time Corvette owner, 2014 Z51 Laguna Blue 7-speed. Blue Rose is her name. He laughs and he says, I just love this car. But Greg wanted to do something different to a C7 Corvette. Did he take this car and make it a mid-engine car?
Ooh.
No, that's just a great Photoshop. Greg, thanks for watching the channel and thanks for sending the note. Hey Rick, I've been reluctant to send you a note about my Corvette experiences since I know how busy you are, but after hearing viewer mail that you read from other enthusiasts, I decided to send you this note, so I hope you don't mind. Absolutely not a problem. I was first attracted to Corvettes at a young age back in the 1950s and 60s and fondly remember the 1960 to 1963 Corvettes featured on the show Route 66. And then there was the 1958 Corvette driven by high school classmates Wally and Eddie on Leave It to Beaver. I would get excited every time I saw a Corvette drive past and would start dreaming about getting a ride. I went to high school from 1965 to 1969, and we had a couple of Stingrays, usually in the parking lot. As much as I loved the earlier Corvettes, I was busting with anticipation of the 1968 Mako Shark. Like other kids, I couldn't afford a Corvette as a teenager, but managed to get a 1964 Pontiac GTO with a 4-speed, 389, and tri-power. Luckily, I didn't kill myself with that thing. In 1971, there was a draft going on for the Vietnam War, and I didn't keep my student deferment up. When the draft lottery number got close, I joined the Air Force. A lot of people that I went to basic training with were sent straight to Vietnam, but I went to Utah, but I actually enjoyed it there. And after being there almost a year, I found a 1958 Corvette in good shape for $800. I told the guy I wanted it, and I went to the credit union to apply for the loan. That same day, I got orders to go overseas, and I had to pass on the opportunity. After I got back home, I was able to find a 1959 Corvette for $1,500. Although it wasn't in as good a shape as the first one, it was originally frost blue with white coves and a 4-speed. It had been painted several times with each paint job layered over the last one. The car was a work in progress for years, and the car went with me from move to move. I love all Corvettes from 1953 to the 1962s. Those are the ones that are very special to me. In the late 80s, I bought a silver 85 as a daily driver. It had that 4+3 overdrive transmission. I put a lot of miles on that car, and I loved it. I was living on the Oregon coast where it always seems to rain, and the car really lacked traction on the wet roads. During the occasional ice or snowstorm, it was almost undrivable. I later gave that car to my son, who drove it for several years. I went through a divorce in 2000. One of the outcomes was selling the '59 Corvette. You know, I still miss that car, and I wonder if it's being taken care of. Well, the next year was the attack on the Twin Towers, which changed everyone's life. I was working as an Air Force civilian after leaving active duty and also remained in the military through the Air National Guard. My Air National Guard unit was then federalized, and just like that, we were back in the Air Force. In 2009, I retired both from the military and as an Air Force civilian. I was offered a job as a defense contractor, still working with the Air Force. I was also lucky to marry Colleen that year. Well, my financial situation allowed me to consider looking for another Corvette in 2014. I went to the local dealer to look at a used C6. I liked the car, but couldn't quit looking at the two new C7 Corvettes on the showroom floor. One was white, the other was night race blue. The supply of C7s at the time was almost as bad as the C8 situation right now. As luck would have it, the dealer seemed concerned to have two convertibles so close to the end of the Corvette driving weather season and offered me the cars at MSRP. I was the proud owner now of a night race blue C7, and it really got attention. As much as I love the old 59, which drove like an old lumber wagon compared to the new C7, Colleen and I took several short trips and one 3,500-mile trip, which included driving through Yellowstone with the top down. It was wonderful. One thing, we averaged 34 miles to the gallon on that 3,500-mile trip. After almost 50 years of working in the U.S. military, I recently retired from that contractor job. It's time to give Ricky a chance to sell me a C8, so until my name gets to the top of the list, I guess I'm still dreaming. Gary and Colleen, thank you so much for your support, your future opportunity, and sharing some incredible history with us. This is Viewer Mail and Coffee with Conti. Thanks again, everybody, for joining us for Coffee with Conti in our Viewer Mail segment. Now, if you don't get a chance to see this video in its entirety, I get it, everybody's busy, but come back and finish it up. Some wonderful emails I want to share with you right now. Here's one. He says, hey, Rick, been watching the videos. It seems like I know you, and you're a good, honest guy. Thank you. Appreciate that. But you know nothing of me. So I'm 70 years old, and I first started liking Corvettes when my older cousin came over with his 1958 Corvette at Thanksgiving. I was 11 then. I couldn't drive, so I made slot cars. My best one was a 63 Stingray, which I won a lot of races with at the local town track. We went to a lot of sports car racing in California in the 60s, and I loved Corvettes. The first one I ever drove was a 1968 427. I still remember it like it was yesterday. Well, life goes on, and you do what you can. So in August of 93, I ordered a new coupe, a 6-speed, white. I got it in December. I still have it, and it drives like it's on rails. I raced Formula Fords, and it was the car I wanted after racing. I always wanted a mid-engine car, and now with the new Corvette, I've got the best of both worlds. I can't afford a Ferrari, but probably wouldn't get one anyway. I'll be waiting to hear from you, Rick, in the coming months when my order gets closer for being placed. Chris in Utah. Thank you, Chris. All right, this is from a guy that's on our order request list. He says, hey, Rick, I've been watching your videos since the first C8 send-off. I began watching out of curiosity about the latest generation of this Corvette. I've been a lifelong fan of all things Chevrolet. When I was in grade school, I used to write letters to Chevrolet requesting the latest brochures on the cars every year. I can vividly remember turning the pages on those brochures as a kid in the mid-'80s, a 10-year-old boy at the time, admiring the beauty, design, and performance of the Corvette. As I got older, I became more of a Camaro guy, seeing the Corvette as just not accessible for us middle-class guys, but I never stopped being a fan of Corvette. When the rumors began to swirl about the next generation Corvette would be mid-engine, I laughed out loud. I've always been torn between the two worlds. On one hand, I love all things that were new, and on the other hand, I was a staunch traditionalist in many ways. And when the first spy photos began to circulate, there was no doubt the profile of this new generation was a mid-engine car. My jaw hit the floor in disbelief. For a brief moment, I considered Chevrolet to be a sellout, caving to the pressures of the automotive press, a press that has not usually been too kind to Chevrolet and has been pushing for a mid-engine Corvette for quite some time. Then I watched the official launch of the C8 in utter amazement. I was a little melancholy knowing that I just witnessed the end of a legacy. I began to consume as much information about this new C8 as possible, most of which was on YouTube, and that's when I first saw your channel, Rick. The more content I watched about the new car, the more I fell in love with it. My wife, also a fan of the automotive world, that's a good thing, slowly began to appreciate the new C8. Eventually, we both came to grips with the idea that we really liked this new car, and we were finally in the position to possibly purchase one. For the last year, I relied on your channel's content to keep me informed about the marketplace surrounding C8 during these most turbulent times of our lifetime. I've owned many new Chevrolets in my life, and now I'm aware that obtaining a C8 will be much different than those other purchases. So here it goes. I would begin the conversation with you, Rick Corvette Conti, about maybe doing business on a new Corvette. The passion and professionalism in which you represent the brand matches the loyalty and heritage the brand deserves. It was really nice. Thanks, you guys. I appreciate you saying that. I've dreamed for decades about owning a new Corvette, and with your help, maybe someday I can start driving one. This is from Brad in Pennsylvania. Thank you, Brad. I appreciate that. Stay close to the phone. You just never know when Ricky might be calling. All right, one more for you on our viewer mail segment on our Coffee with Conti show today. And this one, you guys are gonna love. This is awesome. This comes from Tim. He says, Rick, my name is Tim. I love this, right in your face. My name is Tim, and I need a C8, he says. Ha, like you don't hear that 100 times a day. Yeah, that's about right. I've been waiting for this car since 1969. First, I'd like to give you a little info about my history and my family. Here's my mom in 1963. Look at all those trophies. And here's mom and dad in 1965. I grew up in a Corvette family. Throughout the 60s, my parents raced Corvettes and were involved in the Corvette community. My dad was a president of the WSCC, the Western States Corvette Council, for a couple of years. He was also business partners with Dick Goldstrand, Corvette Hall of Famer. He was crucial in developing several Corvette performance products for Goldstrand Racing. He was also the chief engineer for James Gardner's Corvette racing program. Now, Dad's in the left front. James Gardner's next to him with his hand on Dad's shoulder. And Dick Goldstrand there is in the far left rear. Now check this out, you guys. He says, my mom was a national autocross champion. In 1965, she went to Daytona and beat the Daytona women's top speed record at 165 miles an hour in her 1965 Corvette. And this picture is an actual shot of that run. Wow, is that cool? And this is even cooler. In 1969, my parents traveled to Florida for a combined convention, the NCCC and the WSCC. During that week, my father had a meeting with Zora, where Zora talked extensively about his plans for a mid-engine Corvette. I'll never forget my father's excitement when he got home. He told me about this amazing guy with a wild name. He was going to design and build a mid-engine Corvette that would be a Ferrari killer. It was that evening when I learned the differences between mid-engine capabilities versus front engine. From that moment on, I was determined to own a mid-engine Corvette. At the time, I was 11 years old. Here's a picture from the '69 convention. There's Zora, marked up at the top there with the red mark. And my father, well, he's in the white sport coat there at the bottom of the page. So Rick, that's my history. I've owned 4 Corvettes. My first was a '63 fuel-injected monster I received as an early graduation present at 16 years old. That's way too much car for a crazy kid like me, but I did survive. The next was a 1972 LT1 fully loaded. After that was an '86 that my mother and I autocrossed in '89 and '90. The last was a 2006 automatic that I had to let go in 2018 to pay the mortgage. Since the reveal of the C8, I've been on a mission to acquire one. When the pandemic hit, though, both my wife and I's businesses were shut down. We went completely broke with no income in sight. In a moment of despair, I discovered DoorDash. I'm now grinding hard at DoorDash and stashing away every penny for a down payment. And now I'm ready. Mom is also helping me a little bit with the savings that she has. The color scheme will be a tribute to the 1965 Vette that she had so much success with. Here's a link to a short video. You can see this is the car moving to tech at Daytona. And then here is my vision for the C8 Corvette as that tribute. Rick, it is time for me to stop dreaming and start driving. Tim from California. Tim, what an awesome story, what an amazing journey, and I'm honored to be a part of it. And we're gonna find a way to make that dream happen on that C8, so stay close to the phone. Thanks again, everybody, for joining us on today's kind of a delayed edition of our Coffee with Conti show. And if you want to see our final segment in viewer mail on how I got this pullover, check this out. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, thumbs up the video, make those comments down below. I love hearing from you guys, and I look forward to seeing you on our next upload. Thanks again for watching. We kind of started already, guys, but Roger and Pat are here, and it's almost a year anniversary since I brought the C8 to your home. I'll have to link that video down below and we'll actually re-air it for like a flashback. So being that we're doing viewer mail on Sunday Coffee with Conti, I actually get to do a live viewer mail, opening the stuff that you got me with you here, with you guys on the vlog as well. So thanks for joining us. You guys have been so supportive in so many ways. I can't thank you enough for that. So I started to do this, I'm like, wait a minute. This is like a viewer mail segment. Hey dummy, get the camera. So thanks for joining us. Thank you guys, I love you guys. It's like a whole, look at this whole box of stuff in here. Look at that. Oh my gosh, look at that. Oh wow, look at that, and this beautiful towel. She's been working so hard all week. A couple weeks ago, she had me send the logos, and when I was at her home, she got, what do you got, like 5 sewing machines in that one room, in the front room?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Look at this. Oh, it's on the back. Oh, I thought that was the front. I got excited, I thought it was on the front. Look at the back, and look at the front. Bam. Let's see. Oh, I got another towel?
Well, that one's, what do you got? You got, oh, different logos on towel.
Different sizes and stuff? Oh, I love that.
You got a big,
I'm gonna have to get a towel rack in the office. And I am. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding.
there was no room for the big pile.
Oh. Look at that. Oh, again, this, I keep thinking this is the front. That's the back. And there's the front. Oh, man. Oh, man. There's more in there. Oh, I got a bath towel.
That towel.
Oh, look at that bad boy. Oh, man. What's this? This is like a washcloth. Oh, it's got Zora on it. Look at that. Oh, let's see if you guys can see that. It's so cool. Washcloths that'll never be used. I mean, they will never be used. I don't want to wreck them.
But you can use them.